This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Sorry. Revised notice of this meeting was included in a notice sent to the record and advertised in said newspapers on May 29, 2022, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, and has remained continuously posted as the required notices under the statute. A copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Proper notice having been given, the municipal clerk is directed to include this statement in the minutes of this meeting.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb?
Here.
Councilman Cohen? Councilman Cohen?
Here.
Here.
Councilman Hamer?
Here.
Councilwoman Marin?
Here.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Here.
Also present, but on my phone for medical reasons, unable to attend, is Mayor Michael Wiles. Have the city manager, CFO Michael Kaufman, and city engineer Franz Volsi.
Did you say Mr. Bailey as well?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed you, Bill. City Attorney Bill Bailey.
And just for the record, the mayor will be listening but not participating in the meeting. So we're going to move to go into closed session at this time. Do we read it first?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Mr. Bailey, will you please read the resolution?
Yes, sir. Be resolved by the governing body of the City of Englewood that it meet in closed session pursuant to subsection 7 and 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act to discuss matters relating to litigation and personnel, and be it further resolved, discussion conducted in closed session can be disclosed to the public upon taking final action around, provided it does not constitute an undue invasion of privacy or violate the attorney-client privilege, and be it further resolved that the governing body will return to open session at the conclusion of the closed session.
Do I have a motion?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sorry, I didn't hear the motion.
Mr. Cohen motioned. Ms. Marin seconded.
Would you like me to do a roll call? Or?
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Cohen?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes, thank you. So we have to discuss some litigation. We anticipate this will take a half hour, so I apologize about that, and we'll be coming out, and we'll come back at 30 minutes. Okay, roll call and going back into open session, please.
Councilman Cobb? Councilman Cobb?
Yes.
Councilman Cohen?
Charlie Hayes, yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Okay, again, thank you for your patience. I'm sorry for the longer than expected meeting in closed session. So now we're going to move to public hearing, second reading on ordinance 22-04. An ordinance creating a permit requirement to operate a crane. So shall we just declare the public session open? Yeah. Okay. So the public hearing on this ordinance 22-04 is now open. Anyone who desires to be heard or to ask questions concerning this ordinance will be heard at this time. It's on, but it's low. It's going to be fixed later this week. So we ask who's ever addressing to speak loudly, please. Yes. Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Daniel Ortega.
Very quick, very quick. You're over the limit, so very quick.
Right now, the new laws, the laws are being contained, so we're going to work on law. So we're going to work however, we're doing my goal, we're going to work in the past. We will not only have to do a permit, we will also have to file a license later on.
Yeah.
So if you look at the magnitude of, what a bad owner can do, in terms of what a conveyance is, you can just look at it.
Okay, thank you. No, please, we do have a time limit here, please. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Ortega. Does anyone else wish to address the council regarding ordinance 22-04? Okay, so then I will close the public session on this ordinance. Is there a motion for this ordinance to be adopted?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion amongst the council?
Council President?
Yeah, please, Mr. Cohen.
So I first of all, I just want to, just thank Mr. Ortega for coming here tonight. With such, critical information of that nature, and I've had a long history of relationships, with dealing with crane operations and labor unions involved, and and particularly my professional experience on the New York side, where it's been such an issue. The city council there, as opposed to and city councils in other big cities, are all recognizing not just the financial issues that have come, like Mr. Ortega mentioned, but also when you have cranes done inappropriately or inappropriate operators, the public safety hazards that can happen if cranes fall and can kill people, can hurt people. There are so many different reasons here that we should be stricter on our crane operators in the way that Mr. Ortega said, and have stricter requirements. It's a trend, like I said, that we're seeing, both in our neighboring cities and in larger cities, wherever there's a real crane operation happening. It's a public safety concern. It's a financial concern. It's a concern on so many levels. To me, having seen the detriment of not having these kind of restrictions in place in the past, I just think this is a no-brainer.
Anyone else from the council wish to address this ordinance?
I can appreciate all the safety and all people coming up here to talk about passing the crane ordinance. However, I've asked for the last two meetings to have put in there an exception for the city of Englewood, which uses a crane probably every day, and I don't see that exception in it. So Mr. Jenkins at DPW, does he have to go get a permit every time he takes down a tree? How are we going to impede his progress? We should have an exception for the city of Englewood. Safety and everything, everybody supports it. I don't think that's the argument at all. The city of Englewood uses a crane almost every day of the week. Do you think they're going to need to stop, call time out, and get a permit? So I believe this needs to have an amendment to it that says, with the exception of the city of Englewood. Do I expect the DPW guy to call somebody on Saturday that it's not at work, it's not here, and he can't get a permit? I think that needs to be added to this. And I've said this for 2 meetings prior to this. I think that's what's fair. Nobody else is saying that, but the city takes down trees via cranes. This guy has to be able to do his job, and I think that every time you're gonna have to get a permit, it's gonna slow it down. If he's got to work on an emergency, what are we gonna do? So I'm not talking about safety. Safety is understood, but what I'm talking about is allowing the city to do its job. That's what I said for that, and I've asked that to be to be to identify this to be so where it's visible that it says the city of Englewood, with the exception of the city of Englewood.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
So to me, there's a distinction and a difference between what's in an emergency capacity and what it's not. I mean, if we're talking about there being a tree that is literally falling and about to kill somebody, obviously you want to have an exception. But in the general scheme of things, when there are trees or anything else, I want to make sure that the city is doing things in a way that's equally safe to everybody else. It's at this point, these are public safety issues, and I'd rather be err on the side of caution. If there's a non-emergency issue, I'm sure that whatever necessities would have the city doing would be expedited by our own departments. Just a matter of policy. But in a non-emergency issue, why shouldn't the city be held to the same standards as everybody else?
Anyone else would like to discuss this? Just amongst us now. Okay, so...
I would like for Mr. Bailey to ask, can we implement that into this work? Because I think you're going to handicap the way it's written today.
Two things. When it comes to emergencies, there is a provision that the building code official can waive the permit requirement if there's an emergency. I don't know the answer. I don't know if the city actually owns its own cranes or hires crane companies to do it. The crane company, whoever is operating the crane, whether it's a DPW employee or outside company, they do have to have these licenses and operator certificates in any event.
Okay.
If I change it, you have to reintroduce it.
Yeah.
My understanding also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the kind of cranes we're talking about that take down trees are a whole different animal than a regular crane, and are not a subject. I don't even think they're the subject of this ordinance. I think there's a whole different classification of cranes here that is not the same classification. I don't even think that this ordinance even refers to the tree type of cranes. I don't believe it does. And first of all, I don't think the city, like I said before, I don't think the city should be exempt of safety measures to everybody else. But I don't even think that we're talking about apples to apples here. I mean, in the way I read the ordinance, I don't think the kind of smaller crane things cranes that we're talking about that take down trees are even in the same class that we're talking about here. And I don't think that's the same. I don't think they're even embodied in this ordinance.
Question.
Yeah.
If that is the case, could you explain to me or show me either an ordinance for Bailey where in the ordinance it specifies the type of crane that we're discussing tonight?
It talks about right above paragraph 2, general requirements.
Right.
Lattice boom crawler cranes, lattice boom truck cranes, telescopic boom cranes, PLL, swing cab, and TSS, fixed cab, tower cranes, and overhead cranes.
Those are all construction cranes. Those aren't tree cranes.
I don't know about enough.
I do.
I don't know if you use any of these types of cranes to remove trees. If you do, then it applies.
So if that's the case, then I do think it's important for us to have clarity. If we're going to put the ordinance in place, I think we should develop whatever language is necessary to cover the emergency uses as well as the types of cranes that we're referring to.
Yeah, please.
Since we so badly want to have expert opinions here, I would move to give Daniel Ortega 2 minutes extra, who knows very well an expertise on cranes than anybody else that we're claiming here, to let him specifically answer these questions, which are so critical here, which I think are self-explanatory in the ordinance anyway. But if you want an expert, we have one sitting 5 feet away. Why do we want to wait 2 weeks on safety when we have an expert sitting 5 feet away who can give us the answer in 2 seconds?
Is everyone good with that?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to stop the council discussion, reopen public discussion just to Mr. Ortega, If you'd be willing to come up to talk to this again? Thank you.
But before you do that, Mr. Bailey,
Yep.
the emergency issues, are they dealt with in the ordinance, in a manner that, allows us to be able to react and not have to wait for, someone who's not on duty or unable to be reached?
It says in emergency situations, the building inspector may waive this requirement in his or her own discretion. So it's the same as if there's a fire or something like that. Building inspector, whether it's on the weekend at 3 in the morning or whatever,
Okay.
gets a call.
So, Mr. Ortega, you've heard some of the concerns of the council. Thank you for coming back up.
Does it say that here? It doesn't say that here. things have always moved along. You see all this construction in the fourth ward? They bought cranes, they bought everything. But what my point is, we're not arguing the safety point. We're arguing that it doesn't impede the ability of the DPW. If every time they take down, and you're saying it's not a crane, I think that the reality of it is that conversation should be with Mr. Jenkins to say, hey, this is what I do. Because if you look through our bills and claims, you'll see all these trees that they take down, and they use these cranes because the houses are so close to each other. They're going from over the roof, over the back. You're saying that is a crane, right? What I'm saying to you is, in an ordinance like that, if you're going to be that specific and you're telling me the difference between a crane and whatever, what I'm saying is giving the city the ability to operate. I'm not listening to the guy over there. I'm talking about the trees that have been moved around here and speaking to the guy who has to do that as a job. So what I'm saying to you is we don't want to impede his ability to do his job. And okay, so what he would have to do every time we cut enough trees, that every time that he would have to go get a permit. And I'm not, yeah, he would, because that's what this is saying. So what I'm saying to you is that, you know, the exception is the city. This is what I'm saying, and I've been asking this for like 2 meetings. That's all I'm saying. I'm not questioning the safety part at all. But I'm just saying, and everybody should follow the protocols and whatever. I'm saying, making this guy's job, don't create a layer on his job to do his job. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The layer of his job, you know, because if he's got to take down a tree, all right? Now I gotta call the guy in, and I gotta go get a permit. So if he takes down, in every residence that he does, or every place that he does, that he has to obtain a permit for each one of them. The city should be able to say, hey, this guy, the DPW director, has the authority to operate like that, or under the engineer. I mean, because he's sitting back there, he'll tell you how many trees we take down. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to make his job any harder than it is already.
Okay, so the mayor would actually like to address this via telephonically.
Mayor?
Yes.
All right, you had comments to make?
Yeah, briefly.
It's not even a comment.
Yeah.
What's that?
No.
We can't.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah,
What's that?
no, the Open Public Meetings Act allows people to participate by phone.
So then we should have came by phone. Then.
No, it's the exception, not the rule, and under the circumstances.
Well, I have an exception, so I didn't know it.
The mayor has COVID.
Yeah.
Seriously, come on.
Please go ahead, Mayor.
Mayor, go ahead, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Can you hear my voice clearly?
I can hear it, yeah.
Forgive me for appearing today this way, but for medical reasons, without going into greater detail, I couldn't be inside with everybody. I want to thank Daniel Ortega for not just bringing this forward today, but bringing it forward to me more than 2 years ago. And I proposed it to the governing body at the time, and there was a reticence to take what is a standard ordinance throughout the state. I do not believe that the city of Englewood should be exempted from compliance, and if it is a nuisance to the city, it'll ensure that we are protecting both life and limb, literally, not just our beautiful namesake in the trees, but also all the workers and operators. If there are exceptions that have to be carved into it, if there are further changes to the ordinance that have to be made over time, we can always do that. But to delay this because it may impede the workings of our Public Works Department is foolhardy, because Mr. Jenkins had the last 2+ years to opine on this thing, and it sat on nobody's desk and moved no place. We cannot be the place that has ordinances and puts them off for further conversation. I I want to thank, again, Daniel for investing in a city named after trees and making sure that we are rooted in the things that are important, and that is getting things done to protect life and limb. This is not just pro-labor, this is pro-life, in as much as it will preserve people and make sure that we have more efficiencies in place. And the city of trees should be the first one to move this forward. I want to thank the council for finally taking this ordinance forward, and Mr. Ortega for making time. I'm sorry, I beg your pardon that I can't continue and be in person.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb. Councilman Cohen.
Absolutely.
Councilman Hamer.
I'm going to vote no. I think that while the safety aspect of it is important, and I thank Mr. Ortega for spending time and explaining to us what the ordinance ought to do, the schedule that you spoke of that should be in here to differentiate the trains and the sizes and what they can and can't do should be a part of what goes on here. Having rules on the books, are the first step to getting things right. But having rules on the books that can be enforced and will be enforced in a clear and coherent way is equally important. So having legislation in place is good, but having an operating system where the code enforcement officer, the engineer, and the head of DPW, who have to do the actual work, have a process in place that works with this legislation is just as important as having the legislation in place. So with that, I'm going to vote no until we get it right. It may pass anyway, and that's fine, but the truth of the matter is there's work that still needs to get done to make this a viable piece of legislation. Thank you.
Councilwoman Mara.
Yes, I'm voting yes, and should we need to amend this, I'm sure that we will do so in the future.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. The ordinance passes. Thank you all for coming out tonight and advocating for it. Again, sorry we kept you here. It's not like you're having a fun time in the back anyway, so. All right, so we're moving on to resolutions. So we have resolution 145, which was held over from the last meeting, 159, 160, 161, and 162. Thank you all for coming. Any discussion on any of these resolutions? Can we vote on them, what's the word? Unanimous consent? Or do you want to pull any of them?
You got to vote on each one individually.
Which one? I'm sorry, Mr. Cobb, you prefer to vote individually on all of them? Okay. Any discussion on any of them you want to have, or when we move?
Everyone.
Okay.
Everyone. Talk about everyone.
Okay.
I would just like to say one thing about the Day of Music. One of the most amazing days of my life was I happened to be lucky enough to be in Paris on June 21st, and it was the Day of Music. And when you walk through the streets, every couple of feet there was someone else doing some kind of music. Every kind of music. There were chorales, there were saxophone players, it was an amazing experience, and I'm so happy. I mean, it's about time we did something that we could all enjoy, not controversial. And I'm delighted that we're starting with this, and I hope it grows. And I just wanted to let you know it is an incredible experience.
Okay. So, do I have a motion to move Resolution 145 regarding Flat Rock Brook Nature Association?
So moved.
I second it. Any discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Cox?
Yes.
Councilman Cohen?
Yep.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes.
Can I make Council?
Yeah, we didn't have a public session.
Usually prior to resolution.
Yeah.
It's usually when it's consent agenda.
Yeah, okay. Should we do that now? Okay.
Just if I may, if everyone can please speak into their mics because the system is recording. And to pick up your voice, we need to make sure you're speaking into the mic. Thank you.
Okay, so I apologize. You typically have a public session regarding the resolutions before we vote on them, and just because the agenda was slightly different this evening, that was taken off. So is it okay with the council if we have that public session now? It's not on the agenda technically.
Sure.
Okay, so so we already voted on Resolution 145, but the good news is we did talk about that. The public had a chance to discuss that at the last meeting, so we're going to, this is only public session on Resolutions 149 through 162. So if anyone from the public would like to address the council regarding these resolutions, please come up to the microphone. Excuse me, 159 through 162. Thank you.
Yeah, Rick Wilby, Englewood, New Jersey, 287 Shepherd Avenue. Submission of a Bergen County open space grant contract report. We have like an open space issue over at Eleanor Harvey Park. Is that an open space? You know?
So we've voted on this resolution already.
But you having a discussion. I mean, I just seen open space. I know that there's an open space over there within the house for this one. I just want to know.
So, Bill, do you want to discuss what this resolution's about?
This resolution is for the grant and application for Flat Rock Fork. It has nothing to do with the Eleanor Harvey estate. Nah.
What is it supporting the U-Section drive, distracted driving practice? Can you explain it to me?
So
You guys need some money?
So the police department is applying for a grant to be part of this statewide program, and the part of the application process requires a resolution of support from the council. I think they've already had the event, but they still need a resolution.
And isn't the business of writing tickets good already? They need a grant to write more tickets? Bailey?
No.
How much is a grant?
I don't know. I'm not involved in the grant.
Oh, how much is it? How much money they need to write more tickets? Anybody else? And what is this mural labor? This needed to be explained to me.
It's a mural for black suffrage. Black suffrage.
Where's it going to be placed?
It's going to be placed on the Women's Information
The
Center.
Women's
right there
Information
by-
Center.
Women's rights.
The Women's Rights Center. On that wall there, it's a picture of some women from Englewood.
Real black people or pilgrims?
Real folks.
Okay, I just checked.
All right, thank you. All right, so I close the public session. Now can I have a motion to move Resolution 159 regarding Make Music Englewood Day?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Cox?
Yes.
Councilman Cohen?
Yes.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. Do I have a motion approving Resolution 160 regarding the grant application for the U-Drive, U-Text, UK?
So moved.
Well, we can discuss it after. So second, so what was your question, Mr. Cobb?
Not a question, but it's, this already took place.
Yeah, so they're applying for the grant retroactively, from what I understand, and they need our approval.
So it says crackdown, so what were the results?
Well, we can ask the deputy chief to report back on the success of the event at a future council meeting. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb. Councilman Cohen.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin.
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. Do I have a motion to move Resolution 161, supporting the Click It or Ticket event?
So moved.
I second it. Any discussion?
Where is this event taking place? All over the city, or what is it? Was it targeted somewhere, or what happened to it?
They didn't give me details outside of how much grant money they're applying for.
But their activity has to do something with that, right? Can we get that? Do we know?
Okay. I've definitely seen some signage about that this past week. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
Councilman Cohen.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin.
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes. And do I have a motion to pass Resolution 162 regarding the mural permit?
So moved.
And so, Charles, would you want to discuss this, or?
I think
Oh,
it was
okay.
Mr. Wilkie, I told him. But
Okay.
that's the women's rights suffrage mural that the Women's Rights Information Center and all those folks. So they wanted to get a waiver on the permits.
All right. Roll call, please.
Councilman Cobb.
Yes.
Councilman Cohen.
Yes.
Councilman Hamer.
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin.
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig.
Yes, so that resolution passes. Okay, so resolutions for future meetings for discussion tonight. So, Bill, do you want to walk us through the ones you know about?
Yeah, the refund due to disabled veterans is, there's a statute in place, and we have an ordinance that if, once a veteran's deemed disabled, they get a refund of property taxes they paid for the up to a 12-month period from the time they make the application. So this is reimbursing this disabled veteran for 2 tax payments he made for 2022. I think the total is about $2,800. The next one is tax refunds. These are, you see these pretty regularly due to people that have either, there's been a duplicate payment for their taxes, or they had a tax appeal that reduced their assessment and they get a refund. That's those 2 items.
And the liquor licenses? Is that for you?
Yes, so the liquor licenses expire at the end of June, so they have to be renewed at the next council meeting. This is just to let you know that there will be a resolution on the next agenda to renew all the liquor licenses. They are slowly trickling in, but we have most of them at this point.
And how about the downtown parking for the summer sales?
This is a request from the Chamber of Commerce. They do this on an annual basis. They're looking for permission to waive the parking meter fees.
So it's like July 28th through 30th or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so that we do every year, right?
It is. It's a three-day event. Whenever the summer sales or the sidewalk sales take place, which we really haven't had the past couple of years. But
Why not? I can't imagine why not.
some strange reason. So, but this is an annual request.
Okay, so,
And correct, it's July 28th.
yeah, okay. And the electric garbage truck? That's just,
I'm not too familiar with that one. I was asked to place it on the agenda.
Wasn't it a grant that Mr. Jenkins and them to get 2 electric trucks?
Yeah, I'm
And
not,
one grant?
I'm not too familiar with the documents that were sent over, I'm sorry. I
But he
know
won the grant, I think, for 2 trucks.
there is something that he had requested that the council move forward with.
Yeah.
I'll find out more information and have maybe a more detailed memo sent over.
Yeah, it's a $1.3 million DEP grant for 2 battery electric garbage trucks. Okay. So we'll have that for the next council meeting. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and the future ordinance for discussion for the recreational activities, a price increase. Yeah, who put this on?
Recreation Director had sent over a memo with the price increases she's looking for. I don't have a memo for the reasoning behind it. I can request one.
Okay, so everyone, I don't know if everyone saw the schedule. Looks like 1 or 2 percentage points. Any comment on the recreation price increase? It's one of the last pages in the packet.
No, I saw it. I think we should.
No, but I do think that we should have the director come before us and have that conversation with us about what's being increased.
Okay. So, Yancy, can we ask Ms. Simons to...
Yes, I'm writing it right now.
Okay, so we'll discuss that some more when she's here. So I think Mr. Watkins put on the memorial plaque discussion.
But this is really misleading because that's, if you read what Mr. Shumpert requested, it's plaque recognizing 50 years, it's class for 50 years. And, you know, for myself, that's alumni of the Whitemore High School maybe we should consider forwarding this to the Board of Education where they put it inside the school or something, because the concern could be that more classes will ask for the same thing at 50 years, so at least they would have something that kids who attend that school will see these plaques there in the school, and we will achieve that when you graduate from that school. So I think it should be there, because I think if it get hidden, and I don't know, we would maintain it on the campus. But I think there's more discussion that should be had with that.
Well, I think also a bigger issue is, do we want to have naming rights to the benches throughout the city?
But I don't think he said that.
Well, I think so for the benches that he was talking about, buying a bench and putting this plaque on the bench.
What I read was he was saying, considering the parks, that we have a plaque put out there, and the plaque wouldn't have any names on it.
No, I thought he mentioned the bench in there.
No, he said class of, the class, the graduating class, a picture of the school, and something else.
He actually suggested both.
All right.
What's that?
He made reference to a contractor possibly building a bench.
So, like at Flat Rock, they have benches where you can, make a donation and they'll put a plaque on it.
Every class, every year, 50 years. Because he's actually class of 72. They've had, everybody would be asking, because every year there's going to be a class that gets 50 years.
Yeah, but if they give us money, then that's good. So, like, if you look at Flat Rock, I think...
I don't think that said that.
I think Flat Rock, you make a donation of $3,000 and you can put a bench. Central Park, obviously we're not New York City, but Central Park is $10,000.
I would think that we would want something that's scalable, and that class members or whoever could comment on what they would like to have, but something that would house it, because the thing of it is that every class that reaches that milestone may want something to tribute or have something in honor of that. So what really works for them? I think that needs to be a conversation.
With the Board of Ed?
I think.
Okay, all right. So I'll reach out to the Board of Ed, who's ever left on it, and see what their thoughts are. Okay, so that's further to discuss. Mr. Kaufman, are we good on time? Okay. All right, so that's more to be determined. I'll reach out to the Board of Ed. So now we'll move to the public session. So this is where anyone from the public can discuss any matter. Any member of the public wishing to speak is asked to come up and speak into the mic, give their name and address, and have 2 minutes to speak. Bill, do you want to just remind us of the...
Under
the first public meeting,
the administrative code section that was passed by the state legislature, I believe it's about a year ago, it was May 2021. There should be no interruptions, no defamatory statements, no disruptive behavior during the public sessions under the code. That does happen. The individual could be, lose their opportunity to speak during the public session. So just a reminder of the decorum as dictated under the New Jersey Administrative Code.
Okay, thank you. So anyone from the public, please come to the front and name and address for the record, please.
Ricardo Wilby, 287 Shepherd Avenue, Inglewood, New Jersey. I can't say I missed any of you guys with the exception of Nancy during the COVID period. But every monument of colonialism is a monument to barbarianism. And I look at Inglewood right now. You guys were here discussing this crane ordinance, talking about you want to do things right. Inglewood doesn't do anything right. This community has been gentrified. There's rampant corruption. There's rampant racism. And none of these issues have been dealt with by the governing body. Okay? We are a city that's divided, and we're divided amongst the lines of race. Nobody wants to deal with it. Nobody wants to accept it because everybody's living in a bubble. But I don't live in a bubble. I'm very realistic with the Inglewood that I live in. Now there's somebody that's running for council that literally lives across the street from me, and I don't even know who the hell she is. Like, now you guys are actually planting people in communities to make sure that the black community doesn't have any power. And this is what's going on. And this is so that the development and the land grab and everything else that's been going on could continue to go on so black people can be pushed out. There's no low-income housing. The infrastructure is overburdened. You guys keep building, and everybody's not, talking to their constituents. Everybody wants to have their way, but when somebody like me comes up here with a hard question, none of y'all have answers. Nobody has answers. People are getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. You guys know exactly what you're doing. You failed the people, you failed your constituents because you want to hide behind your positions, you want to hide behind Zoom, and you want to treat everybody that will look like you like crap. And that's what's going on. And that's the reason why people are not being compensated fairly in the city. The DPW lawsuits are mounting, okay? Everybody feels like they can't communicate with nobody because the leadership has failed us. So this is something you guys need to think about. All right? Have a good night.
All right. Thank you. All right, thank you, Ms. Johnson. So, so the city manager the interim city manager is out today, but when he's back in the office and you're feeling better, I'm definitely going to speak to him about the POP program. And I did speak to the previous city manager specifically about how she could support the POP program, and she had told me she had reached out to you and had been in discussion. So, but I'm going to follow up on that, and I'll definitely get back to you next week. Okay, definitely. You know how to reach me.
My name is William Foreman. I work for the Department of Public Works. One of the issues that I had was Juneteenth. I don't know how everyone may feel about that day. We've been requesting since it came into law or passed that we have that day off. We were told and denied, and we went and said that the Department of Public Works would have to give up one of our holidays that we have off regularly in order for us to have Juneteenth off. The Department of Public Works is about 85, maybe 90% African American down here, and I really don't feel that the city of Inglewood is taking that day serious. I know they do a march, but I would like the city of Inglewood to recognize that day by not just DPW, but City Hall and everybody else, for that day to be shut down where everybody don't come to work that day. It was said in negotiations they're not going to do it, we got to give up something, and I don't know how everyone feel about that day, but it's important to us. That's a day that, we were free from slavery, it's our history, but we would like that to be recognized. We don't want to give up none of our holidays to get this day. We would like for you all to step in and give us this day off, in celebration, and, to celebrate what happened in this country. We can't change the past, but we definitely can change the future. So I'm asking that we can get this day off, and not just DPW, but it be recognized throughout the entire city. That's City Hall, that's the library, that's every city employee. And I'm asking that the city of Inglewood recognize it that way.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas. I'll follow up with the interim city manager about that as well. All right, so at this time I'll close the public session, and we'll move on to bills and claims. Are there any questions from the council to Mr. Kaufman or to anyone else regarding bills and claims?
I think we need a motion.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve bills and claims?
So moved.
Second?
I have a question. How is it that we estimate? Why are we estimate? Are we estimating our bills now, or what is that? I have another question. Gov Pilot, annual subscription, $9,500.
Yes, it's a renewal. We got them to give us discounts the last couple of years, but this year we had to have the price rate. And we did actually add the new program. We replaced one of the older ones with one for the police department. They had wanted the community registry. I'm sorry. They had wanted to add the community registry for members of the community. I forgot what it was called.
So, Gov Pilot, what is that? I think that's what.
That's mostly the map. It's a link on our website. If you click on it, it actually it's searchable for all properties in the city. It'll give you basic information: property address, property owner, taxes owed, tax assessed, And then we also use it as a portal for our OPA requests, so people can submit their OPA requests through that. We had it set up for 2 licenses, we're down to 1. We switched out the other one with, like I said, the police department had added a program.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes.
Councilman Cohen?
Yep.
Councilman Hamer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Marin?
Yes.
Council President Rosenzweig?
Yes. Before we adjourn, Nancy, any special announcements about the election or same as usual?
Elections are next week. Please come out and vote. There are 3 ways to vote. You can vote in person through ballot drop box, mail-in or mail-in ballot. So please just make sure you come out. Thank you.
Okay, and some people are in a new ward, as we discussed before.
Yes, everyone should have received a letter by now. The letters did go out to let you know what your new polling location is for the registered voters affected by the rewarding and redistricting, as well as the voters who would go vote at 111 West. They will be at the library.
All right. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Roll call? Aye. Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming out tonight.
Thank you, Yancy. Nice job.
Thank you, Mayor.
Ooh, I get the name.
Thank you, Yancy.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Have a good night. Good night. Feel better.
Yeah,